Nothing breeds competition and camaraderie in a community like sports. It gets your adrenaline up. Sports has a unique way of bringing people together. Your First Coast sports team understands that. We go beyond the X's and O's and to the heart of the game, where wins don't always make winners and the L's don't necessarily make losers, and where the highlights sometimes mean more than the trophy. It's where the real stories are told.
The Farah and Farah Sports Desk, sponsored by Farah and Farah. First Coast News on your side. It's Sunday night, and this is Sports Final. Sports Final. With First Coast News Sports Director Chris Porter.
Hello and welcome to our Sports Final Mid-Year Review Show. I'm Chris Porter. Folks, it's hard to believe, but we are already halfway through the 2025 year. And over the last 6 months or so, the First Coast Sports team has enjoyed covering some of the best local and national sports stories that are relevant to you. Over the next 30 minutes, we're going to take a look back at some of the big stories we've covered so far this year. And we start in early January when Jaguars owner Shad Khan fired Doug Peterson less than 24 hours after the end of the Jaguars' disastrous 4-13 season. Khan expressed his displeasure with a team he deemed before the start of the 2024 season as the best Jags team ever assembled. Peterson led the Jags for 3 seasons, winning the AFC South Division title and a playoff game his first year.
If our defense would improve, get to the middle of the pack, we were 2-10 this year. I mean, how many of those games, we could win? And I think the schemes on offense just being less predictable. I think, we could be more productive on offense. And we have the ability through the draft coming up and salary cap to be able to, use that.
A lot of Jaguar fans were not happy that Khan elected to keep General Manager Trent Baalke at that time, but it was not that long after Khan had fired Peterson that he ended up sending Baalke packing. The top coaching candidates had no interest in working with Baalke. In fact, many believe Baalke had to be fired in order for Khan to land the eventual head coach, Liam Cohen. So with Baalke out of the way, Khan was able to put the full court press on Cohen, a coach who had interviewed with the Jags but reportedly had turned down the job and agreed to return to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as their offensive coordinator. Only one problem, we were told the Bucs had a hard time getting in touch with Cohen after he agreed to remain their OC. Bucs head coach Todd Bowles reportedly told reporters that once he indeed talked with Cohen, he told him he had a sick kid. However, that was not all. Cohen returned to Jacksonville for a second interview and accepted the job. Jaguar fans loving the hire based on what the Buccaneers offense did in his one lone season as the Bucs OC. The Bucs averaged more than 29 points per game, which is 4th in the NFL, had just under 400 total yards of offense per game, averaged about 250 yards passing, and 4th in rushing with about 150 yards per game. Great news for the Jacksonville Jaguars when you saw what Baker Mayfield was able to do, putting up career numbers in passing yards and touchdowns. After hiring Liam Cohen to be the Jaguars' new head coach, Khan then hired Pro Football Hall of Famer and Jaguars great Tony Boselli to be the team's new executive vice president of football operations. Then Khan found his new general manager, James Gladstone. The trio, all in their new roles for the first time in their careers.
Today's NFL is constantly changing. It's important for us to find a GM who is unafraid of change, someone who can innovate, collaborate, communicate, and evolve. All of that describes James.
Jaguars owner Shad Khan laying out the blueprint of what he wanted and believes he now has in his new general manager, James Gladstone.
It's no wonder James has already produced a brilliant body of work so early in his career, but what's best is his immense promise in the role of general manager.
The 34-year-old Gladstone is the youngest GM in the NFL, whose mentor, Los Angeles Rams GM Les Snead, told him it was time for him to go after the Jags job.
It was never going to be something that I brought up. It was only until he rose his hand and said it's time.
Gladstone is now a part of an organization that has a young and first-time general manager and a young and first-time head coach in Liam Cohen. However, Khan, nor executive vice president of football operations, Tony Boselli, seems fazed by their youth or the outside noise.
I look at it really positively. I think we have great people and a great team of people, even though they might be in the position for the first time. I think collectively they're going to have great success.
The combination of Liam and James and what we're going to build here, and the three of us together, we're aligned. And it's going to be a collaboration. You know, it's not about any one individual, no egos, agendas. It's about what happens on the grass. We're going to keep the main thing, and that's winning football games. And that's what we're here to do.
James Gladstone and company wasted no time firing up this fan base. On draft night, rumors begin to swirl. The Jags would trade up 3 spots and take two-way player Travis Hunter, and they did. The reigning Heisman Trophy winner coming to the 904 as the first prospect to be drafted as a wide receiver and cornerback. In his initial press conference, Hunter made it clear he was ready to work and he wanted to be the best, adding he planned to be better than Jaguar star wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr.
He will be big for me. You know, he did a great job his rookie season. I got a lot to improve in. Improve on myself, so I'm gonna ask him a lot of questions. You probably get annoyed because I'm gonna ask so much questions, but I want to be the best. I want to be better than him, so I'm gonna try to soak up all the knowledge that he allows me to take from him.
The offensive mind and you starts to get extremely excited, right? And then you have to switch back to being, hey, I'm a head football coach, and we know that he's going to be able to do both. We feel that in our bones. We're going to set that up that way from a schedule, from an operation standpoint, the way that we're going to operate for him, to set him up to have the most success that he can, to in fact then help the Jacksonville Jaguars become the best version of ourselves.
The Travis Hunter effect here on Our First Coast is real. This young man has been the topic of conversation since the team drafted him 2nd overall back in April. In fact, everything he does seems to make headlines even nationally. Jags fans discussed his impact and how they love the new regime's philosophy.
I got goosebumps. I ain't gonna even tell you I got goosebumps. I'm getting chills. I'm ready for the season. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
But this city has been like on a different vibe since the draft night.
Diehard Jaguars fan Deborah Lewis echoing what everyone here on Our First Coast seems to be saying. Two-way player Travis Hunter is the right man at the right time for the Big Cats.
You can feel the excitement in the city. Even people that are not Jaguar fans are saying, you guys might be pretty good. I mean, even people jumping on our bandwagon, I love it. Travis Hunter is so exciting. We cannot wait to see what he does, what side of the ball he plays the majority of the time on.
Well, I've been here now 16 years. There has not been a prospect in my 16 years, including Trevor Lawrence, that has a fan base so excited like him. Like, for those people at home, explain to them why that's so.
His athleticism, the way he plays, the way he handles himself, his academics. And not only that, he's been influenced by Coach Prime. He's gone to Jackson State. He did his thing, went to Colorado, won the Biletnikoff Award. I mean, he's just done his thing, and we're just so excited, cannot wait to see what he does, and everybody's just behind him.
Lewis also bragging on how the Jaguars' new regime, made up of General Manager James Gladstone, Head Coach Liam Cohen, and Executive Vice President of Football Operations Tony Boselli, is moving.
I love it. I mean, what's not to love? I mean, they have made, like, our previous general manager would never have traded up like that to get Travis Hunter. You know, they seem like they're going to say what they mean what they say, and we're going to see what happens.
Byron Robinson agrees.
In Gladstone, we trust. I'm getting the shirt made. In Gladstone, we trust. Big boy, we love you to death. Duval, baby. Let's go.
From Travis Hunter and the Jaguars to the Players' Championship back in March out in Ponte Vedra Beach, the pressure too much for J.J. Spahn as he puts it into the drink on 17 in the windy conditions and ended up scoring triple bogey, basically putting him out of contention during the 2025 Players' Championship. Rory's experience coming in hand and even some luck because the last time he won was in 2019, and it was also then on St. Paddy's Day. Rory became just the 8th golfer to win 2 Players' Championships. The national champion Florida Gators were front and center at the Orange and Blue game earlier this year. The Gators celebrated winning their 3rd men's basketball national championship. Even the mayor of Gainesville got in on the action, presenting head coach Todd Golden with the keys to the city. More than 55,000 Florida fans got to see the players show off their new hardware, proudly displaying the collection of trophies.
I thought our guys deserved something like this. And, you know, to be celebrated one last time, you know, before guys start kind of going their separate ways. And bittersweet in that regard. But I just don't think it's really sunk in yet. You know, the fact that we went 36-4 and won the SEC tournament, and then we won the national championship. It's been a good couple months for Gators basketball, baby. I've been told we're going to the White House, man, so I'm pretty excited about that. So we'll have to get everybody back together to be able to go do that.
The Final Four in San Antonio, Texas. College basketball coaches from around the country attend workshops to improve their coaching skills. One of them is EWU's men's head basketball coach, Cabral Huff. Coach Huff has turned the Tigers into winners in just his second year.
I think our defense really carried us this year and created success, and they bought into that, and they bought into who we are. Our thing is we are Duval. Buy into that.
Why should my son want to come and play if he's in high school off of Kings Road at EWU?
There's something about an HBCU that speaks family, and nothing better than EWU. We are family. We are Duval. You're not just going to be a number. And then you can carry that, the relationships that you make. You're an HBCU grad, I'm an HBCU grad. Those relationships that you make at a HBCU are lifelong memories.
You're an excellent motivator. You've been totally transparent since you took over this job. You shared how your personal pain, you used it as motivation. Could you talk about why you have been so transparent about your personal life?
I think that's how you build relationships. I think we're moving, because of what's going on in college basketball, we're moving to transactional relationships, and I will never move to that. I will always be transformational. And to do that, people have to know who you are. And my parents raised me in a beautiful way to understand the meaning of life, the meaning of the man above, and how he's blessed us through trials, tribulations, failures, and successes. And I think I want to make sure I relate that to these young men that I'm able to coach, so they can see that I've been through pain, I've been through suffering, but I've also been through blessings. I want to be able to stand here before you.
Coach, I know you're not going to toot your horn the way you should, because it is a big deal that you guys put together a winning season. I think it's been a while since the last time the men over at EWU had a winning season. How do you build on this success?
So now it's about making sure we continue to get the right kind of people. Better people make better players. So how do we build upon that? By looking for winners.
Former UNF head men's basketball coach Matthew Driscoll stepped down after 16 seasons, shocking a lot of us. Coach Driscoll, the winningest head coach in the program's history and the ASUN Conference's history. Driscoll accepted the associate head coach position at Kansas State. Renia Davis is still the highest-ranked professional basketball player ever selected from the city of Jacksonville, man or woman. Recently, in a conversation that Renia and I had, she discussed her glory days over at Reebok, her journey to where she is now as well. My good friend, somebody that has me all smiles from Mexico, a Reebok legend, Renia Davis. What's up, Renia?
What's up, Chris? What's up? What's up?
Listen, I have been waiting so long to have this conversation with you because we have so much to talk about because we have not spoken in years. Let's start with you coming home last week and explaining why it is such a big deal to be inducted into the Reebok Athletic Hall of Fame.
Man, I'm still in disbelief, honestly. It's such an honor. If you from Jacksonville or even the whole state of Florida, like, you know, girls basketball at Reebok and just sports in general and how big it is. So I'm just blessed, man. Youngest one inducted ever. So it's a huge accomplishment for me.
Let's talk about your high school days. I said at the very top, we got video there in the box of you playing for the Preston Lady Trojans. You led this team to 3 state championships. You also won a national title. Now that you've had some years to reflect on your career, have you really thought about, has it sank in what you were able to accomplish at a program that's so steeped in tradition?
No, it's crazy because, like, it was the norm for us, like, and this is the humblest way I could say it. Like, we were there to win games, and that's what we did. Coach Sheila made sure that we knew that was the standard to win games. So, man, it was weird to not win. That one year that we didn't win state, I think junior year or sophomore year, we didn't win state my sophomore year, and that was a weird feeling. I mean, we're there to win games, to win championships. So that's what we did.
The UNF Ospreys softball team enjoyed a magical season and postseason. First, the team won the ASUN regular season and tournament title. Then they received their first bid to the NCAA tournament. The Ospreys won a tournament game for the first time in the program history, but they were eliminated by the South Carolina Gamecocks. But despite the loss, UNF's season overall was fantastic. They won a school record 47 games. The Florida Everblades continue to be a thorn in the Jacksonville Icemen's side. A look back at this week, and you will hear from the Icemen's head coach. You're watching the Sports Final Mid-Year Review Show. Welcome back to our Sports Final Mid-Year Review Show. The Jacksonville Icemen season came to a close after being swept by the Florida Everblades in the opening round of the Kelly Cup playoffs. The Icemen lost all 4 games in overtime. It was the first time that happened in ECHL playoff history. Here's a look back at my interview with head coach Sean Tico after their postseason run came to a close. Not the outcome that you wanted. When you look back at the series with the Everblades, what frustrates you most?
I think, obviously not just the sweep, but I think the way that all 4 games went, it's obviously in overtime, it's 1 goal. And I think, if you look at any of those games, it's a one-shot game. And I think that's probably the most frustrating thing. And obviously I thought the officiating wasn't necessarily on our side, but just the puck luck that they had and the puck luck that we didn't have is kind of probably the most frustrating part.
The Everblades have been a thorn in you guys' side now for 4 straight years, but all in all, assess the season considering you guys had a coaching change in the middle of the season.
Yeah, I think, anytime you have 40 wins in the regular season, it's a pretty successful season. But we're not going to rest our hat on that. I think a big thing for us is we're going to push forward and we're going to do whatever it takes to win that Kelly Cup, and, changes will be made and philosophies will change and culture will change, but it was a good step in a direction for us.
The interim tag has been removed from your title. You are the head man, and you just alluded to some changes that you're going to make. What are some of the changes that you're already considered as far as changing the culture?
Yeah, just kind of the way we go about things day to day. Few strategy changes, a few system things. And just kind of the way we approach every day as a pro athlete. Some off-ice things will be changing and some on-ice styles will be changing, but I think overall it's been pretty receptive of all the players, and I'll be leading on our leadership group, pressing forward as well.
Now that you are the head coach, what have you learned in this interim opportunity that you think will definitely be beneficial for you going into next season?
I think for me, and I think for any coach, I think honestly, if you're not learning, I feel like you're not adapting, and you're probably gonna die in the sport. So I think I'm always learning. I've learned just kind of how to handle pro hockey players, the schedule, the travel, and all that stuff, and just learning everything that encompasses in being in the ECHL, and just kind of taking it in stride, and can't wait to get going next year.
The message you want to share with your fans as they wrestle with another off-season of what-ifs?
Yeah, just stick with us. We're going to figure this out, and we're going to get over that hump.
The Edward Waters women's tennis program received the first ever HBCU tennis program grant from the United States Tennis Association last fall. The grant, worth $100,000, will help the program in a number of ways. Head coach Mark Atkinson said the money will go towards facility upgrades, new equipment, and shoes. They also plan to use some of the money to buy a team vehicle, which will help tremendously with recruiting.
I had a couple people and they backed out, but I realized they have to see my face. They can't. My voice is good, emails are good, social media is good, but if they don't see my face and I'm up in their face explaining what my program has to offer and what we can provide for them, then they're not going to buy in. So my goal is for recruiting this summer is to travel more.
Before the Florida Avengers came to life in 2019, Jacksonville was home to the Dixie Blues, and for more than 2 decades, women's football has survived here on our First Coast. Ashley Gonzalez caught up with the Avengers to find out the keys to their success.
Women's football on our First Coast has grown a lot in the last 2 decades.
These younger ladies coming out here and being able to start from, high school age, and the sky's the limit for them. I started when I was 22, and back then I was the young buck.
The Florida Avengers are a women's football team from right here in Jacksonville. The Avengers were brought to life in 2019, but before then, we had the Dixie Blues, which was established in 2001. From then until now, there's only one women's football team on our First Coast.
Pensacola is about like 350 miles or so. So I would drive out after work every Friday, and I would drive back every Sunday for the most part. for the latter part of about maybe 5-6 months.
Both Leslie Hubble and Shelley Hewitt were part of the Dixie Blues. They watched the sport grow. They say the love for the game kept it alive this whole time.
When I started playing in 2000, we went from 8 teams in one league to, gosh, I think between the 2 major leagues, our league and the other league, I think we're over about 60, 65 teams in the U.S. You name any major city across the country, they have a team.
The last time we talked, I think we were at around 30 on our roster, and this year we had 54, I believe.
Hewitt is the assistant head coach and running backs coach. She says, despite more women joining, there's been one constant.
It all takes money, and that's always the biggest challenge. I think that's probably been the constant since I've been in the sport, since 1999. Money's always been a challenge.
Ashley Gonzalez, First Coast Sports.
Jacksonville is home to one of the top-ranked juniors in the Professional Pickleball Association. See how this team is getting it done on and off the court. You're watching the Sports Final Mid-Year Review Show. Welcome back to our Sports Final Mid-Year Review Show. Jacksonville is home to one of the top-ranked juniors in Professional Pickleball, the association that is. Tonight, Shaz Pirani introduces you to a local teenager who is getting it done on and off the court.
At just 14 years old, Rex Ties is well on his way to becoming a professional pickleball player, traveling the world and competing against the best of the best.
I have to pinch myself to make sure that I'm actually able to play pickleball every day and just enjoy it, and maybe this could become a career of my own.
Rex originally played golf, but his love for social interaction pulled him toward pickleball, a sport that suits his personality.
He was a high-level golfer, but Rex has always been a very social kid. So golf, he would never go out there and practice by himself or sit on the putting green or chip all day. But when he discovered pickleball and how social it was, I mean, the kid got addicted.
Rex uses those social skills to build a presence beyond the court, leveraging pickleball's growing popularity.
It's not about how good you are anymore. That's just a piece of the puzzle. So to stand out, to build the social presence, is a big thing.
In order to stick out, you need to be different somehow. So for me, being loud on the court, screaming a lot, wearing bright colors, and just being able to separate yourself from the crowd.
Rex's ability to stand out has opened doors to sponsorships for virtually every accessory he needs to compete.
It's so weird because, I'm 14 first off, and just have someone, hey, I want to support you because I think you have a bright future in sports. Yeah, I have no words. And I'll prove to you guys that I will become one of the most marketable juniors in pickleball, and I just want to inspire everybody.
Reporting, Shaz Pirani.
Oh, wow.
First Coast Sports.
Pickleball is one of those sports that I really, really, really want to get back to playing. Hadn't played since middle school, was pretty decent back then, and I know for certain it is growing here on our First Coast. We'll wrap up our Sports Final Mid-Year Review Show after this time now. All right, the first 6 months of this year have been absolutely fantastic, and we're expected to be the same, even better, because Travis Hunter, that two-way star, we're going to see him suit up this fall for our Jacksonville Jaguars, and hopefully with the Jags having a new head coach, we will return to the playoffs. Thanks for watching. Have a good night, everybody.